To keep her cubs safe from predators, a spectacled bear mother had hidden herself and her two cubs on a cliff more than 100 meters high. 3 months earlier, she had come here to give birth, and the family had remained inside this isolated den ever since. During those months, she had relied on her own body reserves to produce milk, but as the cubs grew, her milk began to run out, forcing the family to search for food. The cliff that once protected them had now become their biggest obstacle. Although the route down was less than a kilometer, descending was far more dangerous than climbing up, especially for cubs less than 100 days old. The mother carefully led the way, while the two cubs followed closely behind. She had made this journey many times before, but for the cubs, it was their first time. Every step had to be precise, because one mistake could send them over the edge. The mother stopped frequently to check on them and regain her strength, knowing the hardest section was still ahead. Then, one cub suddenly took the wrong path and lost sight of her mother and sibling. With no one to guide her, she relied on instinct and slowly continued downward, carefully placing one paw after another. Knowing that young cubs had fallen from these cliffs before, she had to stay completely focused. Eventually, she reached the bottom safely, where her mother was anxiously waiting. Moments later, the little cub appeared, safe and unharmed. The family had finally survived the most dangerous part of the descent. Ahead stood a massive strangler fig tree that had survived more than a century of storms. Its fruit is an important food source for spectacled bears, and the mother returned to this tree every year. But this time, she had two cubs with her. The moment they saw the branches covered in fruit, they rushed over and began eating. It was their first taste of such fresh food. After filling their stomachs, the cubs excitedly explored their new surroundings. For the next 2 years, they would remain by their mother's side, learning everything they needed to survive before eventually growing up on their own.